and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, back to more Botanist. And we begin, of course, with level 40. Would nature give it? I fear we have a situation on our hands, Serenia. The guild's crop of alligator pears has been ravaged by vermin, and scarcely a day before the fruit was due to be picked. It is disheartening to see our labors come to naught, but such is the way of nature. Alas, our woes do not end there. In a fine example of ill tidings, no sooner had the disaster come to light that we received an unusually large order for, yes, alligator pears from the Carline Canopy. Yet all hope is not lost, for fruit also grows in the wild. We need but find enough to fulfill the order. 15 to be precise. Our man Solier is charged with keeping track of such produce as may be harvested in the 12th wood. He spends most of his days around Bent Branch Meadows at this time of year. If there are alligator pears out there, he will know where to find them. Pray seek him out and do as he directs. Okay, so off to Bent Branch Meadow in the central shroud. Yeah, at the Chocobo stables. Looking for alligator pears? Yeah, I heard the unfortunate tidings. Yet all we can do is take it on the chin and cope best we can. I recommend you search northeast of Quarry Mill. Wild alligator pears grow there, and we're doing well when last I passed through. Barring pests, they should be ripe for picking right about now. And just so you know, the place you're going is no different from any other untamed corner of a 12th wood. By which I mean, it's full of nasties. Botanists like myself avoid the area if you can help it, but it should be a walk through the flower garden for an adventurer like you. Now you best be on your way. Those alligator pears aren't going to pick themselves. Yeah, if I could just change jobs on the fly as they did in the Shadowbringers trailer. Okay, here we are in Quarry Mill, and right outside the northeastern gate are these trees with alligator pears. So, let's harvest. Trying to increase the chance a little because we need high quality. I remember this took a while. I believe I had like 100 normal pears until I had the 15 high quality ones. On the positive side, alligator pears can be eaten and you get the experience boost for food, even if it doesn't give any stats like cooked food does. I trust you now know where alligator pears are found in nature? Yeah, here they are, in my pocket. "15 alligator pears just in the nick of time. You've spared us Mion's wrath. Lest you misunderstand, Mion is a reasonable woman, ordinarily. It's just that much rests upon the fruit's availability. Alligator pears are to form the centerpiece of a new dish of hers, you see. A hearty salad which she has been promoting feverishly to adventurers far and wide. Mion would not have been pleased had her plans gone awry, but owing to your efforts she can keep her promise and we our good reputation. My profoundest thanks, Serenia. I trust you have learned a valuable lesson from this episode, namely that we must not take nature's bounty for granted. As I taught you first when you came to us, nature is an unsentimental creature. She may provide for our every need today, only to take it all away on the morrow. Those who would walk the path of botany must come to terms with this fact, and the sooner the better. For should you labor prove fruitless, and they frequently shall, no amount of brooding shall avail you. At such times one must remember that for all her seeming cruelty, nature is not our enemy. She simply is. If you'd become intimate with her and partake of her bounty, you must learn to accept her unconditionally. I guess that's that way in every relationship. And apparently, also in one between man and nature. Okay, well, time skip then because leveling. These goggles. And with that, what is that? The chart? Wrong word probably. But you know what I mean. Okay, and back we are. I believe I forgot to record the audio here. Ah, Serenia, you couldn't have come to a better time. A dear friend of mine has found herself in a predicament and is in dire need of a botanist. Normally I would not trouble you with a request of such personal nature. This task, however, should serve nicely for your training. A contingent of a goat scriver has just returned victorious from a hard-fought battle with the Ixal, and my culinarian friend Yanni has been tasked with overseeing a feast befitting the occasion. Unfortunately, she is suffering an untimely shortage of key ingredients. I would ask you to harvest 20 of the freshest, most fragrant laurel leaves you can find from the lush vegetation to the northeast of Little Alamigo in southern Tanalan. Then bring them to her. And here we are in southern Tanalan. Just took the east gate out of Alamigo and straight north from here. Yeah, not by the going a bit further north. There are these lush vegetation patches, these small bushes where you can farm the laurel leaves, among other things. So what else is here? Desert saffron. Bad luck. And the laurel leaves. Blood grass, huh? Doesn't sound very nice. Okay, but back. Back at Fufucha. Here are your laurel leaves. Let me see, 1920, and now we are with that leaf among the lot. Yanni will be pleased as peas. Speaking of which, Serena, do you know why laurel is so prized by culinarians across the realm? Not only does it boast the most pleasant aroma, yet deep yet not overpowering, the perfect accent to a savory stew or seasoning for a steak, but it also knows to stimulate the appetite. The brave men and women of the Godscrewer feast now, but it's only a matter of time before they are summoned back to the field of battle. Deliver the laurel to Yanni, that she might prepare a feast that will warm their hearts as well as sate their stomachs. Here she waits. Greetings, friend. Are you purchased the Botanist? Fufucha told me to wait. Well, I can see why Fufucha is always singing your praises. These will be among the crispest, most aromatic laurel leaves ever to grace my spice rack. Ixal wedding parties grow more relentless with each passing day. I fear the day will soon come when we no longer afford to feast our men as heartily as we do today. Still, Gridania's finest require sustenance as much as we need their lances and bows. I am but a simple culinarian, but I would do what I can to support my countrymen, and yet there's only so much I can accomplish on my own. In any event, I'm grateful for your aid. Pass along my thanks to Fufucha and let her know that I shall be calling upon your services again. I hear Yanni was overjoyed with the delivery. Thanks to you, she'll be able to prepare a feast befitting the triumphant occasion. And yet, truth be told, I take no pleasure in martial victories. Every day that we continue to water the soil with blood, I fear we lose something of what we once were. There was a time when Gridania and Ixal alike lived in harmony with nature and with each other. Is there no other way to resolve our differences than with lance and arrow? Forgive me, I did not mean to burden you with my troubles. Yeah. Well, Fufucha is a pacifist. Word was missing. And for her, this is of course troublesome to live in basically times of war. Okay. Sorry, fireworks in game. I believe this was a midsummer festival or something like that. Oh, good morning, Serenia. Forgive me if I seem a bit pensive. If you must know, the thought that our harvests are contributing to the war effort has been weighing heavily on my heart. What I truly wish is to be an agent of peace, but what can a humble botanist do? In the meantime, another order has come in from Yanni, this time for zucchini in large quantities. No, I'm afraid our homegrown harvest simply will not suffice. Fortunately, they also grow wild and in abundance in the Lanosia region. I would ask you to travel to eastern Lanosia and harvest 20 of the finest zucchini you can find from the area south of Wayncatcher Gully. When you are through, bring them here to me. Okay. Sounds like a trip to Wineport first. And down there at that bridge area. Around that bridge area. Just is it. Okay, here we are. So I can show you long after. There are the ram horns zucchini. Those are the ones we're looking for. What resplendent zucchini! I had no idea such succulent specimens could be found in the wild. Truly a testament to the splendor of nature, is it not? The zucchini plant is quite sensitive to humidity. One would never see them grow so large and luscious here in the 12th wood. Furthermore, they are quick to ripen and quicker to rot, meaning that timing is of the essence. And yet a perfectly ripe zucchini is truly a thing of beauty. Sweet enough to be savored raw, its skin retains a pleasant firm texture even when stewed. I suppose Yanni means to prepare a wholesome and hearty feast for our soldiers. I know I should take pride in serving our nation this way, but I have troubled you enough. Take your harvest to Yanni with my blessing. This time he's here in the Botanist Guild Hall. Here are your zucchini. Why, what remarkable zucchini! I have not seen the likes of these in quite some time. At the risk of sounding boastful, I dare say that my next batch of ratatouille is shaping up to be the tastiest guarani has ever seen. Ratatouille is a dish that holds a special place in my heart. It was the first recipe I learned, you see, taught to me by none other than Fufucha's own mother. My father was a traveling merchant and our family moved often when I was young. I had few friends until we moved here to Gridania, where I befriended Fufucha. Hours would I spend at her side as she rooted through her garden. After sunset we would go inside where her mother would whip up a ratatouille that truly warmed both body and soul. Ah, to relive those days. Wait a minute, I have an idea. This is a ratatouille that inspired me to pursue a culinarian path from such a young age. Do take a bowl to Fufucha. It seems she could do something to pick up her spirits these days. I thank you for delivering the zucchini to Yanni. I suppose she's already slaving over a hot stove, preparing a stew that will give our warriors the stamina to fight another... What's that? Yanni has something for me? Yes, a ratatouille. But this is my mother's ratatouille. I always knew Yanni loved this recipe, but I had no idea she learned to reproduce it to such succulent perfection. Ah, this brings me back to the old days. Yes, things were much simpler then. Now the ratatouille that once warmed our bodies after hours spent frolicking in the garden serves to light a fire in the bellies of those who march off to war. Will things never again be as they were? Don't lose heart, Fufucha. Serenia, I trust you, not only as a botanist, but as one who shares my dream of bringing peace to the forest that shelters us. That Order of the Twin Adder has commissioned from us mistletoe in staggering quantities. You will need to search in the vicinity of Camp Dragonhead in the central highlands of Corvus. The curative properties of mistletoe make it a vital ingredient for many salves and medicines. I cannot help but fear that our guild has once again been drawn into serving this fruitless war effort. Forgive me for being a hopeless idealist, Serenia. Could you visit the Adder's Nest and inquire with Lieutenant Gavin as to the nature of his request? I will not refuse his order, you may assure him of that. I simply wish to... know. So, Fufucha wishes to know how the mistletoe will be used before she fills the order. Tis a fair enough request. I have no intent to deceive her, nor you. The mistletoe will be used to prepare medicines for the battles ahead. It's as simple as that. This will not please a pacifist like Fufucha, I know, but what can be done? Does she think that we enjoy bloodshed any more than she? Were there a way to bring peace back to the forest, I would be the first to welcome it. In the meantime, the Ixal continue to attack our people, and we do what we can to protect them. A simple soldier such as myself has no more power to end this war than does a botanist. In any event, I must return to my duties. If you could harvest 20 sprigs of mistletoe and tell Fufucha that our courier will be along to collect them. Okay, where is mistletoe? Whitebrim? Unfortunately, it's just west of Camp Dragonhead, right outside of the fortress. So yeah, these trees here. And hey, there's a map. So let me show this off here now, because what I had previously recorded wasn't all that good. So this is useful now. So when you find a map doing some harvesting, you can decipher it if you don't already have another map there. Then you get an area. This is the South Shroud here. You go there and you need to find the area that on the map that looks like that cut out in the treasure map. In this case, this is right outside of Quarry Mill, a bit to the southeast. And use the dig command that you got when you unlocked the treasure hunting. Have I ever shown that off? Treasure hunting? Yeah. I'm not certain how that is unlocked. If I ever shown it off. And once we open the treasure chest, the first thing happens, a bunch of monsters appear. You have to defeat them all. Usually it's a gracious time limit unless you simply die of it. Which can happen if you have a hard one. And then, once you have done all that, you open the treasure chest and get some loot. This one wasn't all that spectacular, but oh, it's okay. Okay, but time to turn in the, what was it? Mistletoe. Okay. Yeah, it's as if here to Fufucha too. I'm sorry. Thank you. You have served the guild well once more, and so the unending cycle of bloodshed goes on. Needless to say, by no fault of your own. I bear no ill will to Lieutenant Gavin or his people. On the contrary, I have naught but respect for his candor, not to mention his service to my homeland. What weighs heavy on my heart is a sentiment far more simple, almost childish. I simply cannot bear to see this forest I love suffer any longer. War is inevitable, that I understand. But by aiding the war effort, we do not merely contribute to the suffering, we profit from it. No better than the parasitic mistletoe, we suck the light out of the trees that shelter us for our own personal gain. A parasite. Is this what our once proud guild has been reduced to? How can I, in good conscience, permit this to go on? Forgive me, Serenia, I would be alone with my thoughts for a while. All this gear that you can get for this quest, except the hatchet, is craftable, by the way. Forgive me if I seemed a bit distant last time we spoke. Allow me to get straight to the point. I have not come to this decision easily, but I have come to it all the same. As of today, I've resigned from the Botanist Guild. Our battle with the Ixal rages on, and there are rumblings from the Empire as well. With each passing day, more people die. The soil is stained deeper with blood. The 12th wood weeps. Meanwhile, I fill orders for the war effort, and for what purpose? That more Ixal may suffer and die than Guidanians? No, if this is what it means to be a botanist in this day and age, I want no part of it. Yani, may Novika bless her dear heart, tried her best to convince me to stay. Still, I fear my heart is settled. Mind you, this decision is mine alone. I would pass no judgment on those who would find meaning in their effort here. Should you wish to continue to serve the guild, I'm sure Yanni will have suitable tasks for you. Farewell, Serenia, and may the 12th Wood ever shelter you. Oh, Fufucha. Oh, Serenia, I'm so glad you're here. You spoke to Fufucha, yes? It absolutely breaks my heart to see what's become of my old friend. Fufucha and I have known each other since we were both knee-high to a funga, and I assure you her knowledge of and passion for the flora of this realm is second to none. This guild would be absolutely lost without her guidance. Of course, I understand her worries. These are not easy times for a true seeker of peace and friend of nature, and yet I cannot help but feel that her emotion cloud her better judgment, that she's not seeing the forest for the trees, if you will. Fufucha has convinced herself that she's doing more harm than good to the natural world she loves. Preposterous! Has she forgotten the countless trees she planted after the calamity, journeying far and wide to return lush forest? Someone must remind her of all that she's accomplished, and the work that's still left to be done. To that end, I have made contact with one of Fufucha's former apprentices, a botanist by the name of Waterlord, who now tends to a forest that Fufucha herself led the planting of many years ago. My words as a friend will not reach Fufucha now. Only a fellow botanist who understands the depths of her worries can heal the wounds in her heart. I beg of you, Serenia, speak with this Waterloin and seek his counsel. Waterloin tends to the forest surrounding the Timber Lord Lodge in the central highlands of Corvus. Please go quickly. Once Fufucha leaves the guild behind, I fear she shall never return. Okay, Central Highlands, a bit south of Camp Dragonhead, where we met Lord Francis all the way back then. We met Serenia. Yanni told me to expect you. I'm Waterlone, a humble botanist plying his trade in these bleak lands. Botany is not a simple my livelihood. I consider it my true calling. A calling I would never have discovered were it not for Fufucha's guidance. Needless to say, I was devastated to hear the news. All hope is not lost, however, as I have hit upon an idea. Tell me, Serenia, are you familiar with the spruce tree? I do not blame you if you are not, as the tree is a rare sight these days. As Fufucha would tell it, in the years before the calamity, vast forests of spruce would stretch for malms and malms. What spruce trees you see today are the result of Fufucha's effort to bring the flora of ages past back to Eorzea. Perhaps seeing that her work has borne fruit will convince her not to abandon her life as a botanist. Knowing Fufucha as I do, the gesture would mean the most to her if the spruce were harvested by the hand of an apprentice close to her heart. Your hand, Serenia. Before you set off, be forewarned. Spruce is still rare in these parts and not easily discerned. Only one with a knowledge of the truth of a forest can hope to identify such trees, and then only after straining the eyes from the break of dawn. If your eyes are true, friend, you will come upon mature trees unlike any you have seen before. Harvest from them 3 spruce logs and bring them back to me. Okay. So, you need to activate, to see these special things, you need to activate the truth of a forest, and the ones you see with truth of a forest are always time limited. They only show during certain times of a day. In case of the spruce logs, it's, I believe, from 9 to 12 in the morning. So we are lucky that seems to be currently the case, because that is the tree where we can harvest it from. Also, it's only 1 gathering point you get per day. So make it count. Back here where wars was out of reach, I think they have patched it out by now, that concept, and the unknown spot is the stew street. The stews we need, and hopefully... Nope, that was a miss. Again. You see, we only need one successful harvest here to fulfill the quest. Okay. And after this, after you harvested it, the harvesting point goes away. Be careful if you cancel the harvesting because you forgot something or whatever. It also goes away immediately, so you cannot stop in the middle and drink a cordial or something like that to refresh your GP. You have to do that in one go. Yeah, collector's gloves. Haven't unlocked that at this point. Remarkable gathering. I see Fufucha has trained you well. I had a mind to deliver them to Fufucha straight away, but I just received some troubling news. You have heard that we in Corvus are locked in a war with the dragons, have you not? A recent dragon raid has left many soldiers and settlers without shelter. A carpenter in the area is doing all he can to construct new lodgings, but lumber is in painfully short supply. I share your concern for Fufucha, but I'm sure you agree that our first priority as Botanist is to help those in need. Why, Fufucha herself taught me as much. Please, Serenia, seek out the carpenter and deliver to him some spruce logs, that the people of Corvus need suffer without a roof over their heads for no longer. And he is down there, south of the Dismal Darkhold. Yes, on the off chance that you're either blind or stupid, I'm a busy man. Busy doing what, you say? Searching for lumber, that's what. We have no end of houses that need rebuilding after being smashed to bits by those damned dragons. Or haven't you noticed that there's a war going on here? Look, I don't mean to be rude, but I've got no time for chit-chat. Take a look around, these ain't hospitable lands. Without shelter, people will die. Damn it all. Is there not a single sturdy log left in all the highlands? Here you go, logs. Why, this is... I've never seen wood like this. Where in the name of a 12 did you find this? To think that lumber of this quality could be found in these lands. While I not forget this kindness, friend, those trees will save lives. Those trees will save lives? You bet they will, little missy. Speaking of which, whom do I have the pleasure of addressing? My name matters not. I'm just a humble botanist and nothing more. I would bid you speak to my colleague Walterdon at the Timberlord Lodge. He will see that you never want for lumber. I don't know who you are, miss, but I'm glad we met. The gods truly are watching over us today. Shall we go for a walk, Serenia? When Yanni suggested I travel to Corvus, I had not the slightest idea what she had in mind. The moment I laid eyes on this forest, I remembered. This was your intent, was it not, Serenia? You, Yanni, and Waterlon? Your gentle concern for my faltering heart is not lost on me, nor is the meaning of this forest. The trees themselves speak volumes. The seeds, the art of botany, the love of reverence of nature that we brought to Ixal has taken root in the lands and the hearts of the people, and grown strong. As strong as the majestic spruce that once more graced these snow-swept highlands. The spruces that will now provide shelter and comfort to those who have been ravaged by war. Like the 12th wood, this forest has suffered greatly in these times of strife, and yet this forest has strength. A strength it has harbored since time immemorial, and one it shares with us. A strength that goes beyond logs we harvest or herbs we gather. I must never forget the lessons I've learned here today. On the contrary, I must share what I have discovered here, that hope might take root again in the hearts of our countrymen. Let us return to Gridania. The 12th wood is calling us home. Do you hear, Serenia? The leaves whisper to us, welcoming us home. To think I almost turned my back on them forever. The battle rages on and the forest will not go unscathed. Guidanian and Ixal hack away at innocent branches and uproot flowers and shrubs for their own self-seeking causes. The sadness, the powerlessness is at times too great to bear. And yet, if I were to walk away, who would tend to the wounded forest in my stead? There's only so much that a lone botanist can accomplish. Every seed that is planted, every tree that takes root brings us one step closer to a future where we live in harmony with the forest. In my pain and frustration, my eyes had been blind to this truth. Thanks to you, Yanni and Waterlon, I see again. Rest easy, Serenia. I remain here in the grovery. How could I not? The forest needs every friend it can muster in these dark times, and it would seem I still have much to learn. I would be honored to continue to walk the path of Botanist with you, not as Guildmaster and apprentice, but as peers, fellow shepherds of the forest. Be you ever safe in your travels. Regarding the main hand tool you get here, there is actually a better one if you have gotten Grand Company seats at your Grand Company Quartermaster. However, this one can be upgraded and then it once again outshines that one. If you go to Talon in Modona. And there begins the Heaven's Ward quest because I'm already there. At this point in the recording. But that will be another time. For now it's enough for Botanist. That was the Botanist questline for A Realm Reborn. Until next time when we start the miner. Yeah. I'm Mace and don't get lost.